What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery.
Infinite Vibes.
So what we're doing today is we are starting our very first video for a podcast that we're going to be starting called Black Diamond. So basically what this podcast is going to be is it's going to be an integration of my channel, Universal Mastery, and Chris's channel,
The Infinite Vibes. So Jeremiah has been, studying a lot on occult sciences, and he's been going into that field very deeply. And I've been kind of, focusing on human design, DNA activations, genetic, keys. And so we decided, why not make a podcast, just so we can clear up some common misconception around, this whole spiritual reality, that people are stepping more and more into, some of the booby traps you can look out for, some of the common, misconceptions of, being woke or spiritual or quantum, whatever you want to call it. And so this is what this is about.
So exactly. We're pretty much breaking down the science of it, kind of erasing a little bit of the mystical woo-woo side of it and making it more practical. And just to give you a little bit of clarity on who we are, we're both professional occultists, fully initiated in Kabbalah. Chris specializes in human design. He's really good at that. And first thing I want to say is this first podcast we're going to be uploading to my channel, Universal Mastery. So what I want to say is definitely go in the link below. I'm going to put the first link at the top to Chris's channel. It's Infinite Vibes. If you have any questions about, human design, or you want to learn more about human design, I highly recommend you check out his channel, and also just for extra occult knowledge in general. Other than that, as we said, this is our first podcast together. This is something that we're going to be continuing. Right now, we don't have a for sure schedule, but just know that we will be continuing it. And the way that we're going to structure it is, as I said, today's podcast is going to be uploaded on my channel, but then the next podcast,
Universal Mastery. Be sure to check it out. Universal Mastery. He has a lot of really good content and information that will really just mind blow you and just shock your world. Again, we break it down to a science, right? A lot of people are spiritual woo-woo, yada yada. We're not about that. We're this is why you're behaving this way. This is what's going on, right? And this is how it's affecting you. This is what's going on with the planet, and this is how it's affecting all of us, right? And so you want to pay attention to this, because a lot of people, again, like we mentioned before, a lot of people don't do this type of stuff, right? A lot of people they want to draw you in and spit you back out. We're not here for that. We're going to transform. You're going to change your life. And I guarantee you, when you're done listening to us, you're going to be taken completely aback. Some of the things that you may have knowledge on, you might be surprised on how much deeper you had to dive into it. And just like how you're learning from us, we're also going to be learning from you. So please don't hesitate to drop some comments. Please don't hesitate to subscribe to our channels. Please don't hesitate to share our videos, and hit that subscribe button, because this is very important detail. We're ascending. We're no longer in the third dimensional realm. We're going into 5D and beyond, and you don't want to get left behind, because there's a lot of fun stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was saying, this one's going to be uploaded to my channel, then the next podcast is going to be uploaded to his channel. So I haven't seen that done before, where a podcast is on, between two people on one of their channels, and then the next one's on the other channel. The reason why we're doing this is so we can integrate, viewers to both of our channels. And, instead of making a third channel for just the podcast, we're just going to integrate it onto our own personal channels. So other than that, what we're going to be covering in today's video is the Black Diamond. Since, that's obviously the name of our podcast, Black Diamond, we want to really debunk what exactly is the Black Diamond, because there is a notion in the occult realm that is wanting to attain the Black Diamond state. So pretty much what we want to give some clarity on, and it's not going to be a crazy long video. It's just going to give some practical knowledge and understanding of what exactly the Black Diamond is. So if you want to know what the Black Diamond is, stay tuned for the Black Diamond podcast.
Black Diamond podcast. This is episode 1, baby. You guys saw it here first.
Boom. first thing that I want to say about the black diamond is, once again, this is a common, it's a common understanding when it comes to the occult that throughout your process of self-development, like as you're going on your own spiritual journey, there comes a point where you achieve the diamond state, okay? This is like known when you actually get into the realm of, especially when it comes to Kabbalah, the dark side of Kabbalah, which is, in my opinion, the more ancient form. It embraces the totality of what spiritual evolution really is in regards to light comes from darkness. What it says in Kabbalah is that at a point in your journey, you're going to attain the Adamas Atur. And basically what Adamas Atur stands for is the black diamond. So pretty much what that represents is a crystallized form of consciousness that is the full, and what does that mean? That's basically the awareness of your spirit. So it's almost like a direct bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious into your unconscious. So the subconscious, unconscious bridged into the conscious, so that you have a, once again, crystallized version or crystallized awareness of who you are as a spiritual being yourself. So do you have
so what this is, right, is you know, as human beings, we're actually water beings. You know, we're surface dwellers, you know, and we breathe oxygen, and oxygen has hydrogen in it. Therefore, we're actually walking mermaids and mermen. And because water is controlled by frequency, sound, right? This goes back to, you know, Lucifer, angel of sound, music. He got casted out of heaven. He came where? To earth. The vibrational frequency of earth is Om. And so me just doing that right there sends out vibrational frequencies out into the environment. And so what crystallization does is it basically takes in these vibrational energies that everybody's emitting all over the world, right? The trees are emitting it, the ant is emitting it, the dogs are emitting it, whatever, right? Everything is emitting some sort of frequency, radiational frequency. And so what crystallization does is it picks up on this frequency and it solidifies it, makes it like rock, right? And so you can pick up this aspect of crystallization and be like, hey, you know, this is what this frequency is about. This is what this energy is about. This is what, you know, when I pick up this stone or when I pick up this energy, right? There's a certain frequency that's trapped in there, right? And that's what crystallization is. And so the black diamond, this is us basically taking in this energy, right? Here you go. This is us basically taking in this energy and crystallizing it, trapping it into something like that. But rather than a crystal, we're presenting it to you through the YouTube channel, through this tube that is basically sending you this frequency out there. And so we're crystallizing all this ancient knowledge, all this information that we have to the best of our you know, understanding at this current time, because we're going to evolve. Just like you're going to evolve, we're going to evolve. And where we're at now, we're going to shift. We're going to elevate beyond this point. And so we decided, you know what, we're going to crystallize all this black mass energy, all this dense matter, all this chaos and everything like that. And we're going to make sense of it. And then we're going to present it to you guys in a way that, hey, you know what, like, I'm not going crazy. I am having I'm going through spiritual ascension. I'm going through quantum ascension. I'm going through whatever you want to call it. I'm going through initiations, right? And so this aspect of crystallization is like, you know, in regards to what we're going to be primarily focusing about is going to be on, you know, the Kabbalah, human design, stuff like that. And so we're crystallizing all that information, and then we're basically presenting that to you. And so we're basically trapping hydrogen, air, flowing water, flowing energy, trapping it, and then, you know, taking out, you know, just basically putting the right energies into it and presenting it to you guys. And so that's what the black diamond is about. It's about taking that black mass energy, all the energy that, you know, society is saying it's negative and stuff like that, and we're forming a diamond out of it. Diamonds are forming under pressure. And so you have to be willing to go through that chaos, through the pressure, in order to become this beautiful piece, this beautiful aspect of crystallization, this beautiful aspect of frequency trapped.
That's powerful, and I want to add to that actually, which is crazy that you brought that up, because I was literally studying this today, and it was talking about I for some reason, like today before you came to my house, I was studying organic matter and inorganic matter, because I wanted to get like an understanding of what exactly it is. Because I know when it comes to working with spirits, there's a lot of spirits that are out there, especially the darker ones, that are more inorganic than they are organic. And
can you explain what inorganic is?
Yes. So organic is something chemically consisting of life force. Actually, it's not, I shouldn't say chemically consisting. It just is life force that takes a form of matter. So for example, like when we look at Earth, right? And Earth is known as one of the like a lot of people have questions like, why do spirits, if we're talking about working with spirits, why do spirits care so much about human beings on Earth and things in that nature? Why do aliens come down to Earth, things in that nature? Well, the thing about Earth, one of the things about it is that it carries a lot of excess of organic matter energy. So there's a lot of life on Earth. For example, you have plants, you have trees. Us as human beings, we carry that organic matter in us. We can make foods that can come from our harvest, or animals, things in that nature. These are natural organic beings. But one thing that a lot of people tend to forget is that Earth also has a lot of inorganic matter energy as well. But it's a balance, right? And basically, what inorganic is not life force. It's basically, you could think of it as like an artificially manipulated structure of energy, where it's almost like, you take like foreign energies that aren't life force, and then structure it into something that produces energy.
The art of transmutation, alchemy.
Which is the art of transmutation. So it's something that doesn't contain, I believe it's carbon dioxide. But that doesn't mean that it can't still produce power, because power is just a certain type of frequency. So for example, when you have a organic being as a human that also understands that they carry also inorganic energies, then you can form the inorganic energies from the organic state. So that would be the process of working on your spiritual self-development and utilizing chaos and bringing it to a form so that you can put that form to work however you want to do it. So for example, I gave you some examples of what organic is. Now an example of inorganic, and I thought this was funny that you brought this up, because inorganic is water. Oh, did you know that? Did you know water was inorganic?
I was not aware of that.
Water is inorganic. Crystals are inorganic. Table salt is inorganic. And these are some examples.
I know table salt was inorganic.
Yep. So
the water surprised me.
And you also know that we're made of mostly water.
Yeah.
So we are very inorganic beings in our totality. So that is part of why we can also connect with, let's say, spirits that don't literally live on Earth, but are inorganic spiritual energies. And the reason is because they see the organic energies within us, and that's what attracts them to us. So on some level, as an organic being that lives on Earth, we can also affect the evolution of these inorganic beings that we could call spirits that are external from us. And that's why they take liking to some of us and help us evolve on our spiritual journeys.
That makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. I was gonna go from an aspect of us having water. That's a lot of frequency in our system. But you broke it down perfectly, because I was gonna say we being water beings, and now that it makes sense because we're inorganic, and all these entities are hey, we don't have hands. I can't taste shit. I can't do nothing, right? So they're yo, I want to experience this stuff, right? And so they want to experience that organic life, that type of stuff, right? And so that's why they come to this realm. That's why they're here. They're just it's kind of boring up there. I'm stuck in some sort of cycle, whatever the fuck it is. And, I want to have sex, or I want to eat ice cream, right? I just want to do something that, I want to experience stuff. And so, when you use these entities, right, rather than running away from it, right? And they don't communicate exactly like that. Sometimes they'll communicate to you. It could be a light bulb going off, or maybe blowing up, lightning hit, somewhere near you. I know that's happened to Jeremiah, right? And so this could be an aspect of these spirits being hey, you're very I see the energetic field that you're in, and I want to step into that. And so where a lot of people have a hard time is they have a hard time identifying these things and then, utilizing these energies, these frequencies that are looking for some sort of solidified, or aspect of organic matter, right, which is the human being. And so this is why some people tend to get possessed. Others, right, if you do it correctly, you're able to command, control, and even fucking help some of them evolve, right? They learn from you. A lot of people forget how powerful human beings are. We are extremely powerful creatures, but due to the programming and all the things that are going on in society, we tend to forget about it. And we all deal with a lot of things like stress and, just it could be everyday family stuff, right? But this can take you out of your element and make you forget of how electromagnetic you are, how much frequency emits coming from you. And so, this is just kind of like a reminder, hey, if you take a deep breath right now, you can change your entire reality in just like that, right? And, it's something as simple as breathing, and people fail to realize that. And the reason why breathing does that is because when you inhale, you're inhaling oxygen, you're taking in more inorganic energy, right? You're putting into your system, and so there's an entire frequency change that's going on. And so that's why, just you breathing can alter your entire reality state given the type of intent, electromagnetic energy that you're putting into that breath that you just took.
Yeah, so can I add to that? Yeah. That's powerful. And it's interesting because stuff is coming to me while you're speaking. It's I know for a fact that that's what makes Earth different than other locations in our solar system and in the galaxy in general. That's why Earth is an important place and an important stage of evolution. And to be quite honest, we don't necessarily know where Earth is located at on that scale of evolution. A lot of people like to make this is a new age idea where a lot of new agers like to say oh yeah, Earth is the bottom level, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, if we're on Earth, that means we're at the lowest level of evolution. I would say otherwise. I think Earth is one of the hardest levels of evolution because it's the most condensed, and I think what once again separates it from other planetary energies and other, you could even say planets, where there could be other living, there could be other forms of intelligence, I will say, is the fact that Earth contains so much organic energy. So it's we come from spirit. Our spirit is what inhabits these organic vessels, right, as bodies. But I can guarantee you our spirit is coming from a place that is more inorganic than organic. So that's one of the things that's so different to the spirit when it takes on this physical form, because it has to learn its inorganic nature in an organic consciousness and in an organic body. So with that being said, I think that's part of the huge remembering process that one has to go through while they're trying to achieve the state of the black diamond, black being, you could almost think of inorganic, dark matter energy, and crystallizing it with that, with the organic abilities that we have. Because the diamond, remember, although the diamond is inorganic, it's on Earth, which is organic. The Earth is a living matter life force. Earth literally is an organic planet. So it's just so fascinating to me, and I really do think that's one of the biggest parts of evolution, is being more conscious and remembering that we actually do have that very inorganic side to our nature, and to embrace that rather than just following these new age ideas that says, oh, trees are the answer, and you got to eat organic foods, and you have to stay away from things that could potentially have inorganic chemicals in them. But the remembrance that the fact that there is organic chemicals in foods like GMOs and whatever else is out there, we have to remember that although it may not be great for the body and for our health, if you're eating it in excess, if you're eating it in balance, you're not really doing that much damage to yourself, because if we are mostly water, and if water is inorganic, then we're just consuming more other inorganic energies, which our body is already intelligent enough to process properly. So it's all about balance, and it's all about understanding that there is light, life force type of energy, living matter, and then there's also dark, inorganic energy that is a catalyst for power and improving life force. And that's once again connecting it back to spirits. which can go really deep, and that's not the focus of the video, but it's just that it makes sense why certain types of other civilizations don't just wipe Earth out. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, we hear about other civilizations that could potentially exist and that they have way higher levels of technology, but they're still not, like, if they wanted to, they could probably destroy us instantly if they wanted to, but they choose not to, and it's probably because they have a higher scientific understanding of why Earth is so necessary. And on a very deep level, we may come from different civilizations in spirit that we're now here for a reason, creating, you could almost think of as like grid works or power structures, power environments to then empower us in our other life or realities that we may be existing in after we pass here on Earth. Yeah. So these are just some deep thoughts to allow people to open their minds a little bit. But what's your thoughts on that? So what you said is very much mind-blowing. Like, this always happens, right? And again, like, I always learn, we always learn from each other. You know, what he said was very true. And you know, I've done this myself, where like there was a point in my my quantum evolution where I was hugging trees. I was walking around barefooted. I wanted to heal the world. I was a Christian though, but yeah. Like, I was like, fuck it all. I was sleeping in a tent and I was teaching homeless people how to meditate on Venice Beach. Like, that's how far deep into that shit I went, into this stuff that I went, to the point where like I lost everything and I was on that aspect of purgatory, and Jeremiah likes to call it the tunnels of Set in regards to Kabbalah. In regards to the Kabbalah. And so I was undergoing my purgatory, and then I realized, hey, wait a minute, like, you know, this is what this light working, quote unquote, right, has done for me. It's not that it's a bad thing, right? It opened me up to, like, you know, I could feel the earth more, I could feel people, I had that general understanding, but it was not necessarily where I wanted to be in life. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life sleeping in the tent on the beach, teaching homeless people how to meditate, right? And so I got up and then I transitioned, right? And I evolved. And, you know, this aspect of like mutation that takes place, it happens to everybody in some sort of way, right? We're constantly evolving. Evolution is constant. And so you have to keep this in mind as you go along these spiritual journeys where, you know, we just talked about alchemy and transmutation. You can drink something and transmute that. You know what I'm saying? You can eat something and you can eat, you know, a steak, and while you're eating that steak, it's the best salad in the world. Somebody sees a steak, that's a salad, right? And so people might be like, oh, that's just your imagination, you can't do that. But the actual reality is, right, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called the Placebo Effect or something like that, where there's like a doctor, they gave one pill that did nothing to a client who was sick, and they gave the other pill to the person, another person who was sick as well. An actual pill that, you know, actually had the substances that would help them. And so they took that pill. The person, you know, the first person ate the pill, and it wasn't even a real pill. And he basically believed that it was, and so he healed himself and he got better. And then the other dude actually got a lot more sick when he took the actual medicine. And so it just shows you that the aspect of you just believing in the fact that, hey, like, this is going to heal me, this is going to work, that can transmute anything for you. And so for those of you who are like on your journey and, you know, you're like, hey man, like, you know, I don't know, you know, maybe my blood type doesn't let me eat meat, or, you know, I don't have access to like specific waters like Kangen water, ionized water that let me just drink water all day and not, you know, and not have to eat any food and stuff like that, right? Not everybody has access to these things. Those of you who do, like, continue on your routine, you can do your water fast and all that type of stuff, but I do urge you, right? You know, because, yeah, like, eating fruit and vegetables are good because it digests a lot faster. It goes into your system a lot easier, right? Eating meat, it takes a lot longer for your body to process this. And this is why a lot of people tend to deem it as bad, right? And so, as Jeremiah said, you want to like pace yourself, right? You don't want to eat a steak on Monday, then eat a steak on Tuesday, eat a steak on Wednesday. You're going to get heartburn. You're going to die of a heart attack, right? Like, nobody in their right mind would do that. You want to eat a steak on Monday, eat maybe some salads and vegetables, you know, some fruit up till maybe Wednesday. Then you can eat some chicken or some fish, you know, switch it up, have some fish, and then change up your diet again, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you want to, everything in moderation. You want to know, I want to jump in here. When you're on your spiritual journey, you want to know that as you said, like when you're eating vegetables and you're eating more organic foods like that, because remember, a lot of meats have GMOs in them. So although it's organic coming from an animal, it's probably induced with some inorganic foods. When you're eating things that are more like light, they make or more organic, they make you feel lighter. So when you feel lighter, you can actually sometimes travel more effectively in regards to your spiritual evolution, because it's easier to be more receptive and allow energies to process through yourself. But then there's a time, depending on where your journey is, where you can eat more meats and you're able to ground things. You're able to just ground things very quick, and it doesn't affect you as much. It all depends on who you are, where you're at, and the only way that we can tell you what's going to be best for you is by you experimenting for yourself. There's no like, all we can do is talk about what they do. So like eating more organic foods, eating more greens rather than meats and things in that nature, it's going to make you lighter. It's going to make you more able to be receptive.
So if you're in a period of time,
absolutely.
And so if you're in a period of time where you're looking to step more into your light body, you're looking into like astral projecting and stuff like that, there's certain habits you want to cut out, right? Like you don't want to be smoking as much weed, you don't want to be drinking as much, you want to be eating organic, healthy, more veggies and more fruits, right? But then when you're in the aspect of going into your darker self, or not even darker, but like more of a solidified standpoint, right? Because when you're feeding your spirit, right, like you're not even eating, you're just drinking water. Some people get to the point where they're just breathing, right? And I've gotten to that point where I spent some time just breathing, and I was getting all the nutrients I needed, right? And so I stopped it after some time, because I was like, you know what, I'm here to have a human experience. I do want to experience this, that, and the third, and I'm not going to limit myself, because this is the norm. This is how you're supposed to spiritually be. There is no way for you to spiritually be. You're here to be a human being. Any other thing that is coming to you and it's like, hey, you gotta do it like this, you gotta do it like that, blah, 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 that's all Hollywood.
That's a condition. Illusion. That's a human condition. And and back to the point that I made earlier, it's like, what, and I truly fully believe this. I've done my own integration with this idea and belief system, but it's like, if we're here as spirits that come from that dark matter place already, that's inorganic, that is so, vast and so broad that, we don't fully understand until we go back there after death. But if we are those spirits, which every human being possesses the potential, because of the link with source, which is evolution, then it would only make sense that we're here to do something specific. We're here for a reason. We're here for a role, and that's what purpose is, right? So it just doesn't make sense, and this is so new age, is to tap out of our physical existence, right, to just be living from just in alignment with source, because that wouldn't make sense. Because if we're here to do something, like for example, create something that could then maybe potentially, hypothetically, like food for thought, create a power source for us in the next life or wherever we go after this, if we've gotten to that level, then what if that's why we're here? And what if you're living in this life and you just kind of just tap out and say, you know what, I'm this, I understand I'm this spiritual being, but I'm just going to completely write off the idea of even acknowledging that I have a physical body, that I have these physical desires, and that potentially maybe some of these physical desires are in alignment with something that's intelligent that I'm supposed to do and create here on Earth. It would only make sense that that's the right path to go down. Now, it's obvious that not everyone's going to go down that path. There are always going to be people that, it's going to take multiple reincarnations for them to understand this truth. And that's, there's a point in a person's journey where you break the cycle of reincarnation. You could think of it as the wheel of fortune. So for all my astrologers, you understand how the planets transit around your natal birth chart. That's never going to stop. It's always going to do that for eternity. So you have eternity to get it, but not everyone's going to get it in this lifetime. But you will at some point. It could be so long from now until you get it. But the goal is to be conscious, and that's why you're coming across this channel. And the goal of today's video is to understand the black diamond, the crystallization of, why we're here, knowing that we're also spiritual entities, spiritual beings in our own individual right, that probably are coming from a whole nother space of living that chose to be here at this time. So once you get to this awareness, you're gonna break the cycle of reincarnation, you're gonna step into your higher self, and then you're going to be able to be more in line with your purpose on why you're here.
Absolutely. And everything Jeremiah just talked about was spot on, on cue. We are in a never-ending vacuum. For all I know, is like space is like constantly like expanding, and it's this vacuum, and that vacuum is nothing but darkness, right? And that black mass, that black energy, right? That's in there, that darkness. But inside that darkness, what do you have? You have the stars, you have the planets, you have all this living life force, right? We don't necessarily understand what any of these cosmic things are yet. All we know is that it's stretching positively and negatively, and it's continuing to stretch in all ways. And as it stretches and all these things happen, our universes are also stretching. It might not be entirely physical to us right now, but in the long run, it'll begin to make a lot more sense, right? And so if we're in the aspect of a vacuum, a never-ending vacuum that's nothing but darkness and chaos, because there's a lot of chaos going on in the universe, like planets are colliding, asteroids are hitting planets. It's not just on Earth, right? And so if all this is happening in this galaxy and everything that's around us, right? And Earth is just like here, and we're untouched. Like you don't want to limit yourself, right? Like you don't want to like just suppress yourself to a point where it's like, okay, like because, and mind you, do whatever you want to do. I'm not saying like if you're a veggie lover, if you want to hug tree, I'm not saying stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
please hug as many trees as you want.
Yeah,
please do whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
What we're saying is like, just like how there's people out there who's doing that work, there's also people like us who we infiltrate like environments, and then we basically crystallize these negative and positive fields, and we basically transform them and turn it into something that benefits us. And so we do that on multiple grids all over the world. And the key, the main point behind this, right, is like really understanding that dynamic of positive and negative torsion fields. And this is a lot of spiritual booby traps. It's why people go to church and become Christians. It's why people fall into Buddhism, and they're into Buddhism, and then they're living a certain lifestyle that sometimes doesn't necessarily even agree with their human mechanics, right? And so for those of you who follow my channel, you understand that I talk about being yourself and you're not self. A point in my spiritual journey that I found very interesting was like, I was at the point where I was like, I gave up eating certain foods. I was, not doing specific things. I was changing my habits and my lifestyle and all that type of stuff, which is good, right? But then I realized that, this is me acting in my not self. I'm not really acting in my most authentic, organic self. And I realized that, if I want to act in my most authentic, organic self, I can't, limit myself, right? If my body is like, hey, like, because, I went about 2 years without eating any beef, any steak, right? After 2 years, I had a steak, I had a meal, and I felt terrible afterwards. Like my body didn't agree with it. My body was like, yo, what's going on, right? And then so I realized, wait a minute, I've become so weak to the point where like, I look at it as weakness, because I'm like, if I can eat a steak and it's making me feel this terrible, then this is not normal to me, right? And so I had to shock my body back, and this is when I began eating meat again, because I was just like, I don't want to be in a state where it's like, if I have no choice but to eat something that I don't agree with, or drink a specific thing that I don't necessarily like normally do, right? I don't want to be in a situation where like I'm out cold for the rest of the day, just throwing up and hurling because my body no longer resonates or agrees with it, and this helps build up your immune system as well, right? Because if you're susceptible to is eating specific things and stuff like that, you're actually making yourself weaker to the negative polarity of that thing. And the whole thing is about balance. Mind you, the universe is stretching. So just like how you want to stretch all that love and light and all that good stuff, mind you that the darkness is also stretching as well. And so this is the whole concept of yin and yang, the circle. And he just talked about the wheel of fortune. It's all about that. And so that's what we're on about. We just want to help you guys, who might be falling into spiritual booby traps. Your parents don't understand why you're going down this path. If you're in that stage of your journey where you're hugging trees and you feel like this is for you, and you're just all about love and life, please like go through it, continue, push through it. But if you get to a point where it's like, hey, like this is not resonating with me, don't feel bad about switching things up, about going back to certain habits, because you want to end up thinking for yourself. You want to be in your most authentic self, not your not self when you're behaving as something else.
That's facts, man. That's facts. And to have the experience is so powerful. And as we said from the beginning of the video, like Chris used to hug trees. I used to fucking try to preach Christianity to people because I cared about them. It came from good intention. It always does. But the reality is you could have great intentions towards your enemy. Your enemy's still gonna want to slaughter you. You know what I mean? So there's a reality behind intentions, and the goal is to get in line with reality, which is source, which is evolution. Understand that everything consists of this light, matter, living energy, organic, and everything also on the same end of the token consists of inorganic, dark matter energy, very feminine, just very vast energy as well. So it consists of both. Balance is key. But other than that, I think that idea of balance is really going to help people understand what the black diamond truly is, because the black diamond really is the conscious awareness of evolution, and that it does require balance. You have to be ready to embrace the darker side of reality specifically, which is one of the main things most people don't embrace. But at the same end, you have to embrace the lighter aspects, because a diamond in its totality is clear. It's like that organic power. It's like that. It's the organic being that creates the diamond. But although the diamond is inorganic, so it needs the balance. The diamond doesn't just form itself. It has to be created on organic earth. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Do you have any last thoughts? That's all I had to say. I think this was a great first video, and we'll probably be back again next week with more content. Just stay tuned for the black diamond. We're really crystallizing this, so be sure to follow Jeremiah. You're going to be watching this from his page, so link in his bio. Like, subscribe, check out his Patreon as well, because he has a lot of information that's going to benefit you. And just be sure to follow my page as well, Infinite Vibes. I come at it from more of like, understanding your own mechanics, understanding how your aura, you just going into an environment, how that you just being there is going to be able to catapult an extreme change within the polarities that's going on in those environments. And so, just stay tuned, just follow us, and, just be back for more content. The Black Diamond, we're here. Definitely. And once again, I'm going to link Chris's channel, first link in the description. So yeah, definitely check that out. He just literally started his channel, and it's already growing exponentially. So yeah, just stay tuned for the rest of our podcast, Black Diamond, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, peace.